Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining me. I was on social media last night. Oh, and by the way, I must apologise for my facial attire. I worked at 3 AM, got back and haven't been to sleep yet, so I look as rough as a bear's backside or dragged through a hedge backwards, no matter which way you want to put it. Anyway, social media last night while I was hanging about, I happened to notice that Runcorn was trending. I thought, blimey, because usually when it comes close to a by-election, I don't usually notice, unless I'm remiss of course, that areas specifically trend like that. So I thought, okay, I'll have a look. And it was full of propaganda, as you would expect at this point. There was a lot of Reform, there was a lot of Labour, and there was not too much Conservative, actually, to be quite honest with you. But it was the usual gumph. Now, is it a turning point? Is it as important as it's made out to be? Well, I believe it is. It's quite a pivotal thing. You know, you've got Labour. Labour haven't got a cat in hell's chance of getting that seat. If they were, I'd eat my taxi. You know, I really can't see it. You look at the impression that Labour has created for itself over the country over a short space of time. I even saw a video yesterday of a Labour councillor, I think it was an MP actually, having a door slammed in their face and given a mouthful. You know, I even had a Labour canvasser come round my house for the second time in a week delivering leaflets, and I ran outside and the canvasser, the leaflet guy, was actually an old fella, and he was so out of breath he was sat on the bench outside my house. I didn't have the heart to say anything, but despite what they do, I do believe they're not going to win that seat. So who are we left with? We're left with Reform, and we're left with the Conservatives as the two front runners, if you were to believe everything you see in the mainstream media. Now, I have a problem with Labour and Conservatives equally, in that they're the establishment. They're what we don't want anymore. They're what we want out of the door, and I'm sure we can all agree on that. And it's very important that people come out to vote, because whenever you hear Joe Bloggs won an election and got 60% of the vote, you've got to remember that that's not 60% of, say, Runcorn in this case. That's 60% of those that bothered to turn out to vote. So it could be a small turnout, or on the other hand, it could be a large one. But the most important thing of all is that people get down there, if possible, and vote, because it makes all the difference. There are a lot of people out there that turn around and say, oh, why should I bother? I get it, I really do, and sometimes I feel like that, but what you've got to think and what you've got to remember is that if you don't turn out and vote, you're giving them agreement to do what they like. You remember 2010 when we had the hung parliament and we were told it's what the British people wanted. It's because people in their droves didn't bother, and governments just did what they wanted anyway, and we got that lousy coalition. All remember that. So even though you feel you don't want to consent to the system, if you don't consent to the system will just carry on regardless. So you need to either consent or remove your consent at the ballot box. It's no other way of putting it. Well, what about Reform? What about Sarah Poshin? I'd love to know how you pronounce her name, really. I'm sure she, you know, take the politics away from her, I'm sure she's a lovely lady, but politically, no thank you. Now, the reason I say that is because if you look at the history of what she's been up to, you know, businesswoman, It's fair enough. I'm a businessman, magistrate. There's a lot to be said for that job. But most importantly, before, Tory. And that sticks in my throat. I can't get past that. Tory, Conservative. Jumped ship. And then went back in again. Just in time to have a say in who was going to be the leader. So where's the allegiance? Where's the loyalty? I'm not quite sure. Now, the other thing that I don't like with, well, it's politicians as a whole actually, it's all of the propaganda, all of the set piece videos and all of the, you have to vote for us because there's no other way, or if you don't vote for them then Labour, you know, that keeps you within the British system. And that's how they've got away with it for years. That's how the two-party system has remained as stable as it has for years, because people believe this. You know, with first past the post, if 90 to 95% of an area turned out and all voted for one individual, you will beat first past the post hands down. It's a fallacy. It's a figment of your imagination, and you fall for it every time. I've fallen for it. We have to get out and vote. Now, what would I do if I was in Runcorn? As I've made it clear, I believe in England. I believe in what's best for the English, you know, my country that I was born in, my home. And when I look at the makeup of Parliament as it is, and look at the, let's call it diversity of members of Parliament that are in that place, there are literally no genuine, what you would call English MPs, apart from St George's Day. That's funny as well, by the way. You know, we all celebrated St George's Day on the 23rd, and all the lefties came out and said it's been moved to the 28th. It just shows you what they think with the attitude, doesn't it? Well, when you look, you can't actually move St George's Day. It's impossible. You can change the day you observe it, but you can't move it. It's one of those immovable things. So, back. But anyway, we need an Englishman, or genuine English people, in Parliament. And there's a genuine Englishman representing a genuine English party standing in Runcorn and Helsby right now. And that genuine Englishman is Graham Moore. I've spoken to Graham several times. I've interviewed Graham. I'll leave a link in the description. And he genuinely believes and genuinely cares in what an MP really should be about, what an MP really should be doing, what an MP needs to pull off to represent the people that vote them in. And that is something that's sorely missing from our politics, and it has done for a long time. You get one little seed in that place, things can change, and it can sprout into two little seeds, and it can turn into that tree behind me, and before you know it, we might actually start to get somewhere. So if you believe in this, the tree, and believe in the fact if you get out in your thousands and vote with your heads and your hearts instead of what some British propaganda piece is telling you on the telly, we can change it. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thanks for listening. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, have a look at these videos, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.